Hey everyone, this is Daniel from Phone Arena, and what you're seeing here is the Sony Xperia T, the new James Bond phone, which will appear in the new upcoming movie Skyfall, since of course it's made by Sony Pictures. But this is not why we're interested in the Xperia T. It fills all the prerequisites to be called a flagship phone, of course. It has a huge 4.55-inch HD screen, 1280 by 720 pixels. And it is powered by dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor, and above all we have this 13 megapixel camera on the back with the new stacked Exmor RS camera sensor, which should make for some good photos. So it fills all the prerequisites to be called a flagship smartphone, and this will be the phone for Sony that will battle the other high-ends like the Galaxy S3 or the LG Optimus 4X HD this holiday season. It sports the typical for Sony arch design now, which was pioneered with the Xperia Arc, and makes the phone look pretty interesting from the side with this curved profile here on the back. Aids the grip as well, together with the soft touch plastic on the back. The phone is slightly thicker and heavier than the other high-ends, but it feels very sturdy in the hand, very solid. We have this micro SD and SIM card slots here on the right with a protective lid over them, very easy to access as you can see. Thankfully there's expandable storage, because the trend recently has been no expandable, just internal storage included. The phone has 16 gigabytes inside, and the micro SD card slot, you can put much more in it. But the placement of this protective lid and the slots here on the upper right side has shifted the buttons on the lower right side, and while the power lock key is comfortable to press, this volume rocker here is too low. So when you're holding the phone like that, you actually have to push the phone up to lower or increase the volume, which can be a bit dangerous, a result in dropping the phone. We also have the dedicated camera shutter key here, which makes for some very fast photos. As you can see, less than a second from sleep to snap, from when the phone is locked to actually taking a picture with this dedicated shutter key. Pretty fast, and that's one advantage that the Xperia T has before the competition, all of which has on-screen buttons. The display itself is with pretty high pixel density, 323, so small text doesn't appear jagged. It's very readable when you're browsing the web, but it has some quirks, like very high screen reflectance ratio, as you can see, which diminishes the experience outside under direct sunlight. Pretty high reflectance, and it also has pretty weak viewing angles. As you can see, not much the vertical ones, but the horizontal ones are pretty weak for the class that the phone is in. As you can see, colors and contrast diminish very rapidly with the slightest tilt of the phone, so when one of your buddies is observing the phone from the side, he won't exactly see the picture with this brilliant clarity that we're used to from IPS LCDs. These are the minor gripes with the display, but let's have a look at how the interface looks like on the Sony Xperia T. We've got the usual for Sony Timescape UX here, plastered over Android 4.0 ICS, which offers the recognizable multimedia widgets for controlling your music, pictures and video collection, as well as the Timescape feed, which integrates your social networking updates into one on your home screen. The Facebook Inside Xperia functionality is also here. It integrates your Facebook friends in your contacts list, as well as shows your Facebook albums in this nice gallery app, for example, among many others. One great feature are also the so-called small apps in this ICS Timescape edition, which are easily accessible when you press the right on-screen navigational key. Besides the multitasking menu of your active apps, so you can scroll through here on the right and shut down the ones you don't need. For example, as usual, you have this dock with 4 app shortcuts at the bottom. We have a calculator, timer, voice recorder, and notes. You can add more from the Play Store. And these small apps are pop-ups that appear, and you can place them anywhere on the screen and doing whatever you like underneath. So you can quickly calculate something, or you have a timer, you can set it up, do something underneath, and it will just count down. We also have notes, probably the most useful of them also. When in a call, for example, you can just make it pop up and jot down something quickly. And we also have swipe functionality in this keyboard and text prediction. Very good, well-spaced keys. Very easy to type on this Sony Xperia T keyboard. If you can't read it for some reason, because the text is small, you can just use a magnifying glass. Very handy. Overall, these smart apps are one of the best features of the Timescape UX here on the Sony Xperia T. As we said, the keyboard is very comfortable to type on, well-spaced keys. It refrains from the busy layout with a lot of punctuation signs that its competition usually has. Offers large, well-spaced keys. As we said, we also have swipe-like functionality and a nice text prediction engine here on the top. Also in landscape mode, it's very comfortable to type on. Overall, one of the best default keyboards we've seen in any Android overlay, including TouchWiz or the Optimus UX. We have a modern 28 nanometers dual-core Snapdragon S4 in the Xperia T. It's clocked at 1.5 GHz, so you never feel underpowered regardless of what you're doing with the phone, even with the somewhat heavy Timescape overlay, which employs a lot of transparent backgrounds and transitional animations. We have connectivity switches here in the notification bar for the first time, which we used to see on LG and Samsung handsets. You still can't add more to them and scroll them sideways like on LG phones, but it's a nice start. The handset also supports 1 GB of RAM and 16 gigs of internal memory, of which 2 gigs are for installing apps and about 11 GB are user available for files and media. The ICS browser is the last swan song before Adobe Flash support is dropped from Android with mobile Chrome in Jelly Bean, and the browser on the Xperia T behaves smooth as expected with this processor. Scrolling, zooming, panning around are very fluid. Text reflow works like a charm as well. And thanks to this high screen pixel density, small text is quite readable too. Overall, very good browser on the Sony Xperia T, no complaints. We've got a Walkman branded music player here on the Sony Xperia T with the usual minimalistic Timescape interface, which actually at places looks very much Windows Phone-like, with these tiles for song categorization and this modern UI style back button. You have the Sense Me channels, which blast music according to a preset mood. You have a friend's music recommendation as well. So a number of ways to categorize your tunes. And we have a couple of sound enhancements, which are basically just equalizer preset mode. Let's have a look at the video player now. It's pretty basic in terms of interface. in the player itself, but it plays DivX XPD files right out of the box with up to full HD definition. As you can see, this is a DivX file, 1080p, plays without a problem. And you can hear the usual excellent loudspeaker quality that we have on most Xperias, and Xperia T is no exception. Clean and with high volume, without multiple distortions. You can throw, that's the term that Sony uses, the currently played clip or tune to a Sony compatible device you have around, like a TV, and the video will start from where I left it off on the phone. We've arrived at the best feature the Sony Xperia T has going for it. It's a 13 megapixel camera with stacked GPRS sensor. It is even faster than the Exmor Aladdin camera in the Xperia S, for example, with these sub-second sleep to snap times when you press the dedicated shutter key in locked mode. And we also have a very quick sweep panorama mode, which stitches quickly the photos, almost instantaneous, thanks to the powerful processor. And we have the usual rich with functions timescape camera UI, providing you with either this fully automatic mode or allowing you to adjust every single option, like newer scene modes, and also a number of settings. You can even set the type of smile the phone should be looking for before taking a picture: big smile, small smile, average, etc. And the only thing that's missing is an HDR mode here, both in pictures and in videos. The sensor inside is 1/3 inches, and the lens with 2.4 aperture, about the norm of what flagship smartphones offer these days. The pixel size is smaller though, 1.1 microns compared to the 1.4 in most high-end phones. While this has allowed Sony to cram high of a resolution and a very small sensor footprint, it also is not letting enough light. As we know, the larger the pixel size, the more light it can absorb. While with good contrast and pleasant, though slightly oversaturated color representation, the pictures don't boast any extraordinary amount of detail or exceptionally low noise, even outside. We'd say they're about the level of current high-end iOS and Android phones. The touted low light capability of the sensor didn't manifest itself either. In our night samples, there's halo around bright objects, blur and noise, about what we get with most smartphone cameras. In those, the pictures didn't have any major issues. They came out fairly sharp and well exposed when the LED flash fired, yet noise is evident and climbs up when the lights dim. The phone shoots very good 1080p video with smooth 30 frames per second, even inside, and exposure compensation while panning around is very fast and gradual. The only gripe is that the continuous autofocus is a bit slow to change the focus from the nearby object to the distance and vice versa. The sound captures is relatively strong and clean as well, but again, nothing to write home about. As far as the video capture interface goes, as you can see, we can zoom in with pinching the screen, even while filming, and there's an abundance of scene modes to choose from, but the phone lacks touch to focus before shooting starts. In the end, we have to say that the Sony Xperia T doesn't offer many groundbreaking features compared to the other flagships out there, save for this dedicated camera shutter key, but it's a pretty compelling package nonetheless. The sturdy arch design will appeal to many, and the 13 megapixel camera will let you capture those moments on the fly because of the camera shutter button here, which takes you from sleep to snap in about a second time. Very quick. It's like you have a dedicated camera with you, and even faster, which might come in handy in a lot of situations. There are no major gripes with the handset either. It is zippy with expandable storage and easy to access card slots here on the right side. The only minor issues are with the screen. Its coating reflects too much light outside, which tampers with the view under direct sunlight, and the viewing angles are pretty weak, as you see. Our biggest expectations were towards the 13 megapixel stacked Exmor RS sensor, but apart from saving space inside the phone, the version of it that's here in the Xperia T doesn't offer much better capture than its predecessor, and the pictures and video quality is about what we find in the other high-end phones of today. Those flagships are in about the same price range as the Xperia T as well, so they're its main competition. The Samsung Galaxy S3 sports a larger 4.8-inch HD Super AMOLED display, which is superior to what we find in the Xperia T, and it's also a thinner and lighter phone. The HC One X has a larger screen too, but its unibody design omits a micro SD card slot that we have here. The LG Optimus 4X HD has a brilliant screen too, and it's as compact as the T, but the camera fares worse. Sony's phone, however, won't have much to show against the upcoming crop of phones like the Optimus G, for example, from LG, which is more powerful, built with premium materials, and also has a 13 megapixel camera like the T. If you're not a fan of large screens, you can also check out the upcoming iPhone 5 as an alternative, especially if you're somewhat invested in the iTunes ecosystem. Other upcoming threats to the Xperia T are the Windows Phone 8 flagships from Nokia and HTC that were unveiled recently, and have the same processor, Snapdragon S4, but the Lumia 920, for example, sports a camera with optical stabilization, and the HC8X has a dedicated audio amplifier, but its screen is smaller than the one on Sony's finest. This was a video review of the Sony Xperia T from Phone Arena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.